Percolate. All right, here we go. Hey, welcome back to Total Spotfest. JJ, Jamie, Austin, coming back at you here. I'm going to mix up the looks. So the last time in kind of this particular look, we're going to mix up the graphics a little bit next year, but it is the end of the year. This is going to be our last podcast of 2023. Gentlemen, how the hell are you doing? How was your Christmas? What's up?
Doing fairly well. Christmas was solid. Aside from we had our sewer line running out of the house was blocked, causing issues. So that was fun. We got a plumber out today that it's temporarily fine, but we're gonna have to replace that line before too long. So
yep.
I feel like at least every other month I'm here bitching about something about home ownership because these are the things that pop up. But outside of that, Christmas was great. Spent a lot of time at home with the wife, drinking beers on the couch and cooking stuff on the flat top griddle we just got, which
nice.
My new old man hobby. I'm about to quit my job and just go work at a Chili's and just man the flat top.
Was it a Blackstone you got or?
Yeah, it's Blackstone. It's a real nice, like the 36-inch giant propane griddle. So yeah, I'm about to just become a short order cook because I thoroughly enjoy that thing. But outside of grilling, got both of my fantasy football teams in the finals this week, keeping up the Total Spotfest tradition of excellence. I'm going to be the Jamie of fantasy football. I'm just going to keep winning championship. But yeah, all in all, things are going pretty well. How about y'all?
I am also in the championship. I had 2 out of my 3 leagues. I'm going for 3rd place in the other one. My team dominated this past weekend. It was a close one there for a hot minute, but I was able to prevail as champions do. No, but I thought I had an awesome Christmas. My kids got a lot of stuff that they did not need. They got some stuff that they did need. It was all in all a great time. I spoiled my wife as she is most desperately needed to be spoiled because she puts up with this every day.
She lets you go. She lets you go on random ass wrestling weekend trips with me. So I should have gotten something. Next year I'm definitely gonna get Jen something.
You should, because she is a national treasure.
Oh, well, that's wonderful. Well, my Christmas started off wonderfully. The Steelers gave me a Christmas gift of an actual team victory, out of nowhere. George Pickens showed why he is who he is, and we're gonna inevitably flub it up somehow. But sports wise, it started off great. Had a nice chill Christmas. It's a little bit different this year. We did because my dad had taken a new position. He's at a different church and traveling and this and back and forth, and there's a lot going on this year for them. So we didn't have a traditional Christmas dinner. We did Chinese food. So on my way over to my dad's house, stopped by, picked up, I ordered it the night before, stopped by, picked up a boatload of Chinese food. We did Jewish Christmas dinner and then real chill, low key, nice and relaxing Christmas with my sister, my dad, my stepmom, and my stepmom's best friend, right? Who's like a sister to her, so just kind of real chill, nice, relaxed. Of course, I got my Hans Gruber falling from Nakatomi Plaza fix in the night before, as is requisite. Okay. I've just been lazy as hell. It's been great. So we hope all of you out there watching or listening had a most merry holiday. And we're gonna get into it. So there's a lot going on. Usually December is always that dead month, right? Wrestling, it's all right, because you got the holidays, this and that. WWE always shuts down. They do tribute shows and tribute to the troops and all this stuff, and but not this year. Now with AEW putting a pay-per-view at the end of the year, we actually got wrestling going left and right here. So man, we got a lot to talk about, Jamie.
Holy crap. Yeah, there's a lot to go over. The year of 2023, ladies and gentlemen, was a banner year, I would say, in the world of professional wrestling. I think wrestling right now might be the most popular it's been since the Attitude Era. I
agree with you on that.
I would have to thank a certain Paul brother and Bad Bunny and things of people of that ilk that have really put a spotlight on how great wrestling is and how you can lose yourself in this fun time that is at amazing professional wrestling. And there's a lot of great wrestling that happened this year and a lot of people. So in our annual event here on Total Spotfest, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to go over our yearly awards.
Ooh.
And we are going to change it up just a skosh.
We mix it up a little bit every year. Gotta mix it up.
So last year we did best male wrestler, best female wrestler. Well, we're getting rid of the line there. We're just saying the best wrestler of 2023. And I feel that would be a great one to start off with, gentlemen. Who is your best wrestler overall in 2023?
It's easy. We all say CM Punk. Thanks for coming. I thought about this today a little bit. I had a few in my head that I was kind of wavering around. But I think that the best wrestler of the year, in my opinion, what they've done in the ring, what they've done on social media, all that combined, total impact, the whole 9 yards. I'm going to give it to somebody who had a ridiculous banger match at the marquee pay-per-view earlier this year for their company, and has just been carrying that and is crossing over outside of wrestling, getting people who aren't even really that much into wrestling to pay attention to them. One, Miss Rhea Ripley.
Excellent pick.
Dominant as champion. That match at WrestleMania was a straight banger. Deservedly, headlining night one.
Yeah,
night
that
one.
was night one.
Yeah, because Roman night 2, of course.
It didn't headline though.
It did headline. I thought it did headline.
No, because the tag match main event in night one.
The tag which was also really good. Okay.
Yeah,
but no, she stole the show at WrestleMania. Let's put it that way. And yeah, social media game is on point. Is out there. People who aren't even wrestling fans know of her, and have. There's crushes on her and female crushes on her, and kind of her Twitter game with little baby Mysterio is great, But she got engaged this year. Congratulations to her and Buddy. I think Rhea Ripley, to me, I don't say head and shoulders, but she was definitely on top of the list, and for my money.
that's fair. I considered Rhea, but for me, I think there was a drop off in the back half of the year. I don't think she fell off. I just don't think they've done anything super interesting with her in some time. But that match with Charlotte at WrestleMania was up on my list of matches of the year. That was just absolute top tier pro wrestling. Rhea is a solid choice. I went a little bit different direction. For me, for my personal wrestler of the year is who interested me the most with what they were doing. And it actually came down to a tie for me. And this is probably, one of them might be on some lists, the other one maybe not as much, but I'm going with Swerve Strickland and Christian.
Okay.
I think the reason why I couldn't just give it to Swerve is kind of like the opposite of Rhea. I think the back half of the year was huge for Swerve, especially these last 4 months or so. He is untouchable as far as I'm concerned, doing some of the absolute best work in the world. But I think Christian's run from the TNT title, and it's cooling off just a little, but it's still there. What he's been able to do at 40-something years old in this company full of the best actual wrestlers in the world, to be pretty much the most must-see segment on TV every time he's out there, is just absolutely magical. So yeah, I had to bring it down to a tie. I'm going Swerve and Christian, both tied for it.
Both those were very high on my list as well too. I almost went with Christian, to be honest with you. But I was like,
the best work of his career, like 25 years after he debuted.
I know, right?
I was right there with you on Christian. Christian was going to be my guy. And then today, literally today, I got reminded very hard as to why this person that I'm selecting is the best this year. Literally resurrected his career. And he's been around. He doesn't wrestle, ladies and gentlemen. I picked a non-wrestler as my wrestler of the year. One Mr. Don Callis.
Both of you go with the nuclear heat options. I like it.
Yes. Don Callis has revolutionized Iron Sheik heat. Like, anytime he comes out, he gets booed to a different level than most people, other than Christian. Christian's right there with him. I'm going to give Christian his props because he absolutely deserves it. But Don Callis, every time he comes out, he can just twist a knife without getting cheap heat. He doesn't have to say this town sucks. He doesn't have to do all those.
Your sports team is trash. Brr.
Yeah, he doesn't have to do it. Like today, on tonight's show, he didn't have to do that. He came out and people were like, "Fuck you, Callis!" Like instantly, like haven't missed a beat. And it's been all year. All year, he's been steadily the most hated man in all of wrestling. And of course, I'm going with that, ladies and gentlemen.
We're gonna put a pin in it to build up some excitement for later in the show. But I'm surprised you didn't change your answer after seeing that segment of Dynamite. But we'll get back to that later.
Ooh. There was a part. Yeah, I get you.
Okay.
Okay. But there was the good part. You reminded me of the good stuff. All right, gentlemen. Our next category: best tag team of the year.
This is the one I struggled the most with because to me it was the easiest answer that felt it was too easy.
Right?
But at the same point, I can't not say FTR. I mean, it's still FTR. And I was reminded during Dynamite why FTR was the right choice because I wasn't the only one who thought that, ESPN, Pro Wrestling Illustrated. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, out there searching for other tag teams, and I'm like, I can't. I mean, it's that obvious to you. You got to go with it. So FTR is the standard bearer. They are tag team wrestling. I feel like the Bucks, they've kind of taken a step back a little bit, and Lucha Brothers, they lots of physical things going on, limitations there. WWE has. They broke up the Usos, and they got all sorts of weird mix-up of tag teams going on. There's a lot of that throughout wrestling now. So when all else fails, you look to who is the best. So F-150 has been the best-selling truck for like 35 years, right? You just stick with it. So FTR is my tag team of the year.
Yeah, I had originally went with FTR. Kind of similar to why you did. It's obvious, but it's almost a little disappointing that not only is it obvious, but outside of there were a couple great FTR matches and moments because they're always going to bust out the occasional just 5-star banger match. But I feel like for tag team wrestling as a whole, this year wasn't all that exciting. There were some good tag matches here and there, but it felt like the tag titles took a very strong backseat, and the ROH tag titles took an even stronger backseat.
Oh Lord!
But I'm actually going to change my answer. We're leading into the new year. I want to go out on a positive note. So instead of just being a little underwhelmed by tag team wrestling, I'm going to pick another team that, while they might not have been the actual best tag team of the year, I think they by and far made the biggest leap of any tag team. And I'm going to go with the Guns.
Damn you.
Did I take yours?
You can have the same answer. It's okay.
No.
The Guns for Austin.
I'm going to change mine. It's fine.
I think
very good choice. I mean, very, very poignant.
The Guns, it almost seems like overnight went from Billy's dipshit kids to a legitimate tag team that they look the part. Their in-ring work has gotten as good as you need it to be, and they are legitimately entertaining with Bullet Club Gold. Like, it's been a great year for them.
Plus, they did win a title early in the year. So they have a title run.
Yeah. And they came out to many men. Yeah. Like, that was the moment. That was the moment, though. I was like, okay, they've arrived. I'm right there with you. But I'm changing mine because that's what we do. We pivot. And I had a second one in the chamber already ready just in case this is going to happen. FTR, obviously, yes, FTR is FTR. Like, I hate to say it, they're the Jordan. Like, you have to find somebody else. So mine is in the Fed. Think about now. You know, you had Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn had a good run this year. You had Judgment Day had a great run this year. But no one had a better run than Damage Control did in WWE Tag Team Division.
It's a very good point.
But did they even defend those women's tag titles when they had them?
They did.
I don't even remember how long they had them. I know
I'm sure they did.
The women's tag titles kind of just like appear and then disappear for a while. Yeah. And like, which are you going with a specific two of Damage Control, or are you just going with them as
Freebird? He's going Freebird.
Freebird rules. EO and plus. Like,
that's fair.
It's easy.
You know me, I'm a sucker. As long as EO's involved, I'm always there for it. So like, yeah.
But like, I mean, EO's now the women's champion. Like, even like as a package, they are tough to deal with. And now they have Kairi Sane in there, which I'm a huge fan of her. I love her in Stardom. You know, I'm glad that they're keeping her same style gimmick here and not changing it back to the way it was. So very, very, very happy with what they're doing. Yeah, okay. Damage Control is pretty badass.
Solid choice.
All right. So we have two more categories, and I'll let you guys choose which one we do. We have best match. We have best match of the year.
Save that.
And we have best independent wrestler of the year.
I say we save match for the end.
I also agree.
Works for me.
So best independent wrestler. Ooh. And I will go first since you all have had an opportunity to go first. Mix it up. Yes. And mine, now I am going to go down the obvious route. Like,
that's why
we have the FTR. Yeah, I want to get this out of the way. So FTR obviously is the tag team. So who has been just absolutely crushing it on the indies everywhere they go? And it's easy. It's freaking Matt Cardona. Matt Cardona has had a year of all years. Like, last year was pretty good. He's like, here, hold my beer, or hold my action figure, if you will. He just has gone absolutely nuts. You know, he gave Steph DeLander, who got released by WWE, the ultimate rub, and now she's one of the top independent women wrestlers out there just because he liked her. You know, like, that's it. Like, there's nothing more to that. Like, and he's the top guy's GCW. He's the top guy wherever he goes. He doesn't need to go back to the Fed. He said he's like Zack Ryder will never come back again, which I'm very happy for him for saying that. So if he does go back, it'll be Matt Cardona, but he doesn't need to. Like, he is dominating the independent circuit.
Hey, Rob.
Big Rob.
You know, when you were saying you were going with the obvious answer, I thought you were going the same way I was going, but to me, there was an even more obvious answer than Matt Cardona. And even if you had said this person, I just would have confirmed it because in my esteemed estimation, there is no other way to go. It is Brian Keith all day long.
I knew you were going to say that. That's why I didn't say that.
100% knew you were going to say Brian Keith, and 100% warranted.
And like, I couldn't even go a 1B on that one. I couldn't go runner up. To me, what Brian Keith has done over the last year, is that like what you want to see indie guys get to do is get those opportunities, have a big run, and then immediately these wider audiences see what you've seen for a long time, how good this person really is. So like this was Brian Keith's coming out year in pro wrestling, even though he's been doing it as long as I have.
Right.
Yeah, hell of a year for Brian Keith, and couldn't happen to a nicer guy.
You know, whenever you say independent wrestler, my mind goes one place and one place alone, right? And it's hard for me not to say Effie, but I'm not. You know, Effie is almost I don't take this wrong. Effie's almost above wrestling. He is his entertainer of his own ilk, right? You know, but he is definitely the workhorse. He's out there. He does, just like you said with Keith, he's headlining GCW shows. He's all over the internet. Yeah, he got a part on a Netflix cartoon as a voice actor this year, but he still shows up at those places for 25 and 30 people. You know, I mean, he is all over the place. And that being said, he is not my choice for Best Independent Wrestler of the Year. My choice is somebody else who I have behind me, but you can't really see. One Miss Maki Ito. Maki was a niche that we found out when they did the tournament back into COVID, and we're like, oh my God, this is our new favorite wrestler, right? You know, but entertaining is all get up. Come over to America. Yes, she's done stuff on Dynamite. She still does. She pops in Dynamite a little bit here and there. Cool, right? She's gotten embraced fully in the GCW family. I mean, instantaneously fully in there. Her and Nick Gage. But again, you see her all over other places. We saw her in Denver, right? You know? So I think she's put in the work. I think she definitely kind of following similar path line as Effie, and that's not by coincidence. But I think she has put in a lot of work. And for somebody from Japan to put in that much work on arguably a limited schedule opportunity in America just speaks to her. So I'm going Maki Ito, man. Maki Ito is making those strides to be the next big thing. And she's the cutest in the world. So
she is the cutest in the world. She is already the next big thing. Like, I love me some Maki Ito.
Maki is fantastic. So that's my choice.
She is a bucket list wrestler for me.
Same.
Brian Keith is on my bucket list. We keep like missing him, and just like, how do I keep missing? Like,
better jump on it before he gets signed, because it's got to happen sooner rather than later.
There was a Brian Keith signing earlier this evening we're going to talk about too. So.
Yeah, he was in Orlando tonight. So
what was he though?
Yeah,
was it live or was it Memorex?
That was live. We don't know. Okay, we'll talk about that.
We're gonna get to it. We'll talk to that when we get to the segment. I think that was some TV magic.
I mean, Jamie. I would love for him to be there.
Same.
It's not official, Rob, if he's been signed or not. We're not leaking that information. We our one insider who never returns a tweet or an X has not confirmed nor denied anything, so we can't say anything.
I think Brian Keith's going to be one of those ones you just start seeing more regularly, and then eventually you'll see the Brian Keith is all elite graphic, but he'll have been on TV for like 6 months, and you'll be a little confused. Like, I thought I signed him a long time ago.
Kind of like when Diamante got her all elite graphic, and she'd already been in a company for like a year and a half. You're like, wait, what?
I think Sky Blue is another one that was showing up on TV all the time, and then randomly they're like, she's all elite. Like, yeah, I know. I've been watching her on TV. Yeah. She's been there.
She was on a week ago.
So before we get to the final category of best match of 2023, I would like to pose this question. Who is poised to have a breakout 2024 in the independent circuit? Yeah. Deep cut.
That's that's kind of a hard one.
Right? I got one I'll put out there. And I think we could you don't have to have a single one. We've got a few. We could bounce around this for a little bit here. I got one though in my head that, depending on how much they branch out, I feel like the legs are there. We have seen this person, Jamie and I have seen this person from infancy, literally, to become a pretty marquee attraction. St. Louis's own Raheem De La Suede. I think the gimmick is fantastic. His wrestling chops have improved. Like I said, we saw him when he was like fresh out of the training academy a year, 2 years ago, something like that. And he's loved. He's built his way to top of the card for local and St. Louis productions. And I feel if he gets on some bigger ones, I feel he can make some big strides. Now, again, I don't know if he's looking to branch out and do the travel that it takes to do that at this time, if he's still trying to hone his craft or not. But I feel Raheem De La Suede is one that in the future here is going to be a name to remember.
Good one.
It's a good one. So yeah, this one's kind of hard because there's some guys that are getting around some and are kind of known. Like, are they going to take that bigger step, or do you go way less known, someone that you're just hoping by the end of the year a few more people know their name? For me, I'm going to go with Ruthless Ryan Davidson. If you are not familiar with Ruthless Ryan Davidson, he just went over to the All Japan World Tag League that they did.
Oh, okay.
He's been one of Booker's guys for a long time. Very similar to Brian Keith. Been wrestling forever down around Texas. Everything you need is there. He can work. He can talk. He's a big dude. He's got the look. But those opportunities haven't been there. But we just saw him go to Japan. He did some work when they were shooting heels on Stars. He's got to do some stuff. Also, I'm a little biased because me and him used to be the Booker T's Reality Wrestling Tag Team Champion. So I'd like to see my boy do well.
That's okay.
But that's one I would like to see more people know about by the end of 24 is Ruthless Ryan Davidson. If you're not familiar, YouTube exists. You can get familiar. My kind of pro wrestler, very, very old school style, very physical style. But no matter what you like, he'll entertain you. So that's my pick.
Nice. Well, mine's low hanging fruit for the show. I feel like if I didn't, somebody might get yelled at. So I feel like I have to do this. Just because I love Austin. Yes. My vote for 2024 breakout is Miss Heidi Howitzer, ladies and gentlemen. Your Triple L champion, poised to just be everywhere on your damn TV. Everywhere. Like, on Fight TV, on the IWTV, maybe more on Ring of Honor, whatever. Like, she could talk. She does amazing crowd work. Like, amazing crowd work. And she's pretty good, decent in the ring. But again, if you need somebody to entertain fans, if you need somebody that your fans are just kind of quiet, this is your wrestler. Like, that is how she is. Like, she gets everybody involved. Like, literally, we didn't know who the hell she was, and then literally she turns around, looks at the crowd, and goes, "Who likes butt stuff?" And then instantly we were hooked.
I like that you figured you'd get yelled at if you didn't say her, not if you didn't say me, who was sitting here on the show with you. But no, if you don't mention my wife as your breakout for 2024, and you probably would have heard her yelling from across the house had you not. So good move there.
I'm thinking of you, actually.
Jamie has been married for over 2 decades. He knows this stuff. Okay.
Fair.
2021. 2001. I've been married since 2001. Not a space odyssey. No, it's been a marriage odyssey. All right. It's the time. Match of the year 2023, gentlemen. What you got?
Is everybody knows where I'm coming from with this. I'm going to go there because, yes, I know.
Yeah, you might as well go first.
Everybody knows what I got coming, and I don't care. Go back and rewatch it as I have at least a half a dozen times. Kenny Omega versus, and I was trying to think, you know what? It doesn't matter. You can watch either one. It happened twice. Okay. Kenny Omega, Will Ospreay. I have to choose one, don't I?
Yep, sure do.
Yeah.
Kenny Omega, Will Ospreay from the Tokyo Dome. January 3rd, 4th, whatever, early January, whatever. Wrestle Kingdom 23. They redid it at Wembley Stadium. No, not Wembley Stadium. Chicago.
Forbidden Door. Toronto.
Whatever.
Toronto.
Wherever they're doing Forbidden Door this year. Toronto, right? It was in Chicago the first 2 times. All right. They redid Forbidden Door. They redid it again. But that first one, oh my God. You talk about one Miss Holly Hauser, who was in Japan at the time, got to see that live. And I still, every time I talk to her, I tell her how envious I am. Those 2 men, Flippy Spinny, wonderful mastery. I think the first one was like 40-something minutes, 43 minutes too, or something stupid like that, you know?
Because why not, you know?
It's Japan. They love doing that shit.
Yeah.
Love going forever. Kenny Omega, Will Ospreay. I've said it a million times. I will keep saying it. Put it on my TV every day of the week, and I'd be perfectly happy. I still stand by that. That's my match of the year. Easy. Austin, what you
Good
got?
one.
So that's a solid choice. Was never a doubt in my mind that's where you would go with that.
100%.
And for good reason. Actually, during the opener of Dynamite tonight, I was talking to Miss Heidi Howitzer as she was watching, and she was mentioning, because she was there, how dead the crowd was for Jay White and Okada, who had a phenomenal match because they had just watched Ospreay and Kenny Omega, and
All about booking, man.
After that, what are you going to do? Which reminded me of some time ago, better part of a decade and a half, being at WrestleMania 25 and watching Triple H and Randy Orton trying to go out there and top Shawn Michaels and The Undertaker 1 from WrestleMania. Just wind out of the sails.
Yep.
For me, though, bringing it back to the present, for 2023, my match of the year was actually on Collision, not even a pay-per-view. Free-ish TV. It's cable, so it's not really free, but more or less. I am going to go, which is funny because earlier I said it was kind of a down year for tag team wrestling. Even that being considered, I've got to go FTR and Bullet Club Gold, 2 out of 3 falls. Expecting something phenomenal, but then being downright blessed with 58 minutes of just top tier pro wrestling. Nothing topped that for me all year long.
Such a good damn match.
And that was just a random out of nowhere. They announced it and like, yeah, Collision, which has been doing okay since. Bam.
And it was because Bullet Club Gold had beat them the week before, or 2 weeks, like very recently before. Yeah, and they're just like, all right, next week we'll do it 2 out of 3 falls. And you're thinking like, oh, this will get like 20, 25, and it'll be a really good match. But all right. And then no, they get half the 2-hour show to just go out there and kill it.
I do love how in that match too, the crowd recognized about 15, 20 minutes into it how special it was. Because it was like a snowball for the crowd too, because they're like, oh, it's pretty cool. Yeah, we saw this before. Oh, it's actually pretty. Hold on. Actually, whoa. The crowd's like, oh no, we're witnessing magic here live.
And that match, it's how you do an hour of wrestling right. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure if this has been brought up on the show previously, but I personally absolutely despise Iron Man matches. For the same reason, I hate putting your title match TV main event when you know how much TV time's left. You just lose some of the surprise because you know about when it's going to end. Mm-hmm. But starting a show with a title match and then 40-something minutes in, it's still going on and you're still bought in because this could go 2 hours for all we know. It was just top tier pro wrestling.
Didn't Raw do an episode of that back in the day where it was like they did a gauntlet match where it took up like 3-hour Raw, it took up like half of the show, if not more.
So they did that recently. They did a tag team gauntlet, and it was one of the only Raws I've watched. Not a full Raw. I watched the Hulu version, which is abridged down to about 90 minutes. But most of the Hulu version was this gauntlet tag match, and they didn't even show two of the teams ever enter or get eliminated. They cut out two whole matches in the gauntlet.
Oh, wow. No, I remember that this was one they did back. This is back before Seth Rollins was like really, really big. It was after post the Shield, and it was kind of like it's what put Seth Rollins over, in my opinion. They did like a 2-hour gauntlet match out of nowhere, one Raw, and it was amazing.
I'm gonna have to go back and look that one up.
Sorry, I derailed you there. Go back.
No, that's good. Now I'm kind of interested to go back and find that.
It's worth your. It was awesome.
So good.
What do you got, Jamie?
We got Flippy Spinny, Will Ospreay, Kenny Omega, tag team masterpiece. Jamie, are we gonna stay on point all the way through here?
Oh, go technical? Yeah. So every fiber of my being is telling me I need to pick Bryan Danielson versus Zack Sabre Jr. Because it was a masterclass of technical wrestling. Mm-hmm. It was the greatest single technical wrestling match these eyes have ever watched. And that is a bold ass statement because I lived in the world of Bret Hart versus Owen Hart. You know, like it was amazing. But it's I hate to use an R. Kelly reference, but like,
but you're going to.
My mind is telling me no, but my body is telling me yes. And this one, it's about the story, the visceralness of the match, the overall just technical amazement, and it literally made a superstar out of it. And that's going to be Adam Hangman Page versus Swerve Strickland at Full Gear. That match, holy shit. That's all I got to say. Like, the moment where Adam Hangman Page is drinking Swerve's blood, like having it pour in his
3
mouth.
minutes in.
3 minutes into what, a 20-minute match thereabouts?
22, 23.
Yeah, it was... Cool. And it had everything. Like, you got the best out of both guys. It was totally tops all the way around. Now, like I said, if I could give two, Zack Sabre Jr. and Bryan Danielson's masterclass.
Amazed you're not full in on that one, dude.
Seriously. I mean, again, it's the greatest technical match I've ever seen, and I'm still not giving it my match of the year. If that gives you guys any idea of where we are. And literally that match came out of nowhere. I think that's the reason. Zack Sabre Jr., Bryan Danielson came out of nowhere. And then the build up and the story arc, the payoff that we got out of Swerve and Hanger, and Swerve actually going over, which still amazes me. And it's still not done. And I think that's the best part about it. That's why that match is my match of the year, gentlemen.
That's a solid one. I thought you might have gone Jeff Jarrett versus Jeff Hardy in the Texas Chainsaw Death match, but still, Danielson Sabre was good too, for sure.
All right. Well, we want to thank Austin for being here, for giving us some of his time.
Right. Here's a fun 2023 question, and we all definitely saw one of these. I don't know if y'all saw the other one. But what would you rank higher? The Jeff Jarrett versus Jeff Hardy Texas Chainsaw Massacre Death match, or the LA Knight versus Bray Wyatt Mountain Dew Pitch Black match from the Royal Rumble?
Pitch Black match.
I gotta go Jarrett and Hardy. I enjoyed that more.
Hardy too.
And I love chaos. I love Control Chaos and all that bullshit. I did not like that match in the least. It was, I just couldn't stand that match at all.
But you got Leatherface,
which is fine. I don't hate and I don't mind it. You know this, Jamie. One of the few like horror properties I do like is Texas, Chainsaw Massacre. I still hated that match. It was terrible. Tchotchke run in with I hated it. Hated it.
I hate him.
I legit thought about making that my match of the year. But
great.
I know you would have.
Just because it would have been funny, and I genuinely enjoyed it. But no, the tag match had to go over that.
I do want to say ironic though, because you did do a previous stat, if I remember right, talking about how you did not like 2 out of 3 falls as a gimmick.
I typically don't.
Because you always know it's going 3 falls.
You do always know it's going 3 falls. I think that tag match, they still kept you bought in, and it also, the other thing too is like they did the right way of telling a story to make it 2 out of 3 falls. You beat the champs before, okay, beat them 2 out of 3 to win the titles. This was just a perfect storm of, yeah, you knew it was going 3 falls. You had no idea it was going an entire hour for the 3 falls. And that really like brought you back in by the time you got it knotted up at 1 apiece and you're going into the final fall. You've almost forgot about the first 2 because now it's just a sprint to the finish.
Right.
Yeah, I don't like 2 out of 3 falls match more often than not, but this one did it for me.
I do want to give another honorable mention to a Fed match though. Sammy and Kevin Owens versus the Usos in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia, at the Crown Jewel. First of all, Sammy actually being there and doing all that and addressing the crowd in Arabic was awesome. That match was bomb. Usos, and you can look back, Jamie and I think have always been on record as saying Usos are still fantastic wrestlers, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely. And they put on a hell of a tag match. Went about like half an hour, too. It was a solid way to end. And, of course, giving the belts to Sammy and Gail. But that was a fantastic end as well. That match, I do want to give shout out to that one as well.
I feel like while we're throwing honorable mentions at the Fed, might as well take a brief second to mention Sheamus, Gunther, and Drew McIntyre from WrestleMania.
Oh.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Hey, how about WrestleMania as an event this year? The return to solid WrestleMania. I mean,
it was great.
Start to finish. It wasn't bad at all.
Both nights. Yeah. Like, obviously, the very ultimate conclusion of it was disappointing, but you come to expect that.
There's going to be some telegraphing, sure. But
yeah, just 2 nights of phenomenal wrestling. We mentioned a little bit earlier, but Charlotte and Rhea was one of probably in my top 5 matches of the year of anybody.
And that's
Jamie, do you have any honorable mentions or any moments you want to talk about or any?
I mean, Dragunov versus Djokovic. That was a really good one for Battleground. I really enjoyed that one.
Doesn't have to be Fed either. It could just be in general.
Oh, I mean, Tetsuya Naito versus Will Ospreay at G1 Climax was the shit. If you really want to go there, but obviously I got to pander to our crowd, guys. No, I mean, yeah, Kevin Owens, the same as Zayn versus Usos at WrestleMania 39. Like, if we're going tag matches, obviously, I'm just trying to think of any other just like holy shit matches.
I mean, here's what I liked. Here's something that I thought was
MJF Danielson.
Ooh,
that one had some stank on it. God, where was that at?
That was
Revolution. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah, that match. Ooh.
MJF had a solid good match. I like also the fact that, especially on AEW, we seem to just get a random banger booked out of nowhere, right? Like, I can't remember which pay-per-view it was. Somewhere in the middle of the year, though, there was like last second they put a 4-way together, included Malachi Black. It was like a random ladder match of some sort. I can't remember what it was.
Tag. Wasn't that the tag ladder match?
Yeah.
I think that was All Out. Because we were talking about going up. They're booking everything for All In. All Out's going to get thrown together last minute. And I told y'all it's going to end up being a low-key banger because they're just going to throw the best matches they can out there.
There was like a 4-team tag ladder match out of nowhere that just like, wow.
It might have been Full Gear,
so
but I thought it was All Out.
I think it was All Out.
Yeah.
Well, but we had a lot of that. I think we had a lot of those like kind of thrown together last minute. Wow, out of nowhere. Also, some rising stars, some great stuff. We talked about Rhea, right? How about? I'm not gonna. Yes, Logan Paul. We all hate him, but and I hate that he can wrestle so good too. Man, can he wrestle?
It just pisses me off.
He could wrestle. But how about Dominic Mysterio? You talk about heat with Christian.
Hardest working man.
I mean, talk about getting heat in a good way.
He had a hell of a year.
Mm-hmm. Julia Hart, we talked about a lot about her, the work she's put in from where she started, and then all the work with the House of Black, where she's at now, champion. Mm-hmm. I think that's a solid thing.
Yeah, I mean there was some regression, like in Sky Blue's shorts line. Just kept going up.
We'll have Danger Snake and be like more fabric, or not. I mean, you know,
I get it, but I don't get it. All right, so do we want to talk a little bit of New Year's Smash? That's AEW's Dynamite tonight.
Oh, I totally missed that.
Yeah.
They do like a side name for almost every Dynamite anymore, and it pisses me off. That's one of those, like, it's a gimmick that's not a gimmick. It doesn't need to happen because it means absolutely nothing.
Did y'all see that the Fed has started copying that though?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. For SmackDown and then Raw, it's New Year's Revolution and then Day One or something like that.
Whatever.
It's just
whatever.
I'm
good
with
it.
Dynamite.
I'm good with it if you're gonna make that night special, which AEW more often than not, when they're gonna have a named episode of Dynamite, something big's going on. This one, because you had the finals of the tournament, I don't think you need a special name for it. Like, that should have been your selling thing. But
if you go back and look in the past like 3 months, I guarantee you 75% of the shows were named for Dynamite.
Yeah.
You had Winter is Coming, you had Christmas something. Again, if you're making something special, like the original Winter is Coming was cool, right? The original, you know, whatever. Anyway, Dynamite.
Well, it made sense when they weren't running a pay-per-view every month. Like, you had a special Dynamite pretty often, and like, okay, that's kind of taking the place of the pay-per-view. Now you got a pay-per-view every 4 weeks, so it doesn't really mean anything.
It just confirms Tony Khan likes naming things.
Yeah, he sure does. So let's do this. Let's do this. I want to save the matches to the end, because there's some really good matches. So let's have our dessert first, if you will, and pick apart the promos, because there's quite a few promos today.
It actually felt like more like a go home show. This is the second pay-per-view in a row they've actually done go home shows like you're supposed to do go home shows. That's my overall impression.
Yeah, it had some go home qualities for sure. Had some other stuff that was so like the very first thing I do want to call out is the whole Christian Cage, Adam Copeland conversation. I feel like that's a good one to start with.
Pull this pin out here for Austin. Okay.
So Christian and Edge are going to have a face-to-face interview. And of course, Christian is surrounded by the Waynes, if you will.
Mama Wayne.
Yeah, Mama Wayne. Sorry.
She's now known by Mama Wayne.
Mama Wayne. No Kill Switchosaurus. He is not there, which is a way better name for him, but whatever.
Well, I think it's good not having him there too. He never fit this.
I completely agree, and I actually have thoughts on it. But so they're getting ready to talk, and here comes Adam Copeland, just starts beating the shit out of Christian. No words were had, ladies and gentlemen. And it is spilled out into the hallway where Brian Keith and some other people that were in Texas had, like, there's one guy in a big old cowboy hat and some other stuff.
For sure, it was one of the Von Erichs.
I'm very sure that was a Von Erich. Yes.
Yes. It's like, are the Von Erichs also in Orlando? Question mark.
Yeah. So as I was saying earlier, this looked like they filmed it last week when they just happened to have everyone there, which I understand. You're in the holidays. It's pre-taped stuff. But if you're going to pre-tape it to air the next week, don't have the extra talent that isn't there. And also don't have, because it wasn't just like you had Brian Keith and Von Erichs, but you had like roster members back there, not super known or used ones, but
yeah,
I don't like using those roster members for a pull apart like this, where Copeland is just throwing them out of the way and getting to Christian anyway, because it's like 18-on-2 there. You should be able to separate them without too much trouble. That's where you throw the guys in their black slacks and polos that are pretending to be security to just get beat up in the hallway so they can keep fighting. This might just be a me thing, but I'm watching that just thinking like, oh, if Brian Keith wants to stop Adam Copeland from getting to Christian, he'll do it. That's a dangerous man right there. But it was fine. It was a sell pay-per-view. I don't think this was really needed. I was hoping when they were doing the running thing throughout the night where Copeland hasn't showed up, they were going to run back to a trope that's been run out of wrestling for a very long time, where Christian was just going to get a little person that just looks like Adam Copeland to show up and do the interview. Because that's something I'd like to see return to wrestling. Call out your baby face, but have it be a little person that just dress like him and then beat him up. That always got great heat for me.
That's an old school thing. I don't know if that'd go over.
It is 2023. I must remind you of that.
I think it's okay. Like, that's why I called them a little person. I didn't use the M word, which I think is no longer socially acceptable.
Yes,
but they're still funny. Like, are we not allowed to laugh when they're clearly like doing the comedy for us? Like,
yeah. Like what was it? TNA when TNA when they had the AJ Styles? Oh my god, yeah.
My favorite of all time was when DX brought out the Bret Hart little person.
Yeah, about that one.
I really hope that's where they were going with this. It didn't happen, and that's okay. But that would have been my 2023 moment of the year, and it would have been so on brand for Christian.
It would have. I didn't mind this at all. It wasn't necessary at all. They confirmed this match last Saturday during Collision, so no DQ match. The sit down's unnecessary. It was fine. It was whatever.
Do you see that? Like, WB just acquired rights. I did not know that.
Yeah, I saw a commercial for that somewhere. I can't remember where I saw it, but yeah.
That's crazy. The more you know, right? All right. So that was that. But I would be remiss if I didn't have a prediction for what's going to happen. Gentlemen, it's the last of the year, so I have to have this. It's been a minute since Mark Stradamus has made his illustrious appearance. But yes, ladies and gentlemen, this is what's happening. The return of Luchasaurus will be made at World's End. Luchasaurus, green mask, to be on the side of Adam Copeland. And he will be attacked by the returning JBJP Jungle Boy Jack Perry, who will be siding with Christian. It has been foretold.
I'm good with all that. I'm good with all that.
I would have to disagree. Only because I think this scenario necessitates the Adam Copeland and Christian storyline continuing even further. And I'm really ready for that to be done.
I think we all are.
We all are, but you know they're not. These two guys are best friends. They're not gonna let their storyline just be like a month.
But I mean, they've been going since
end. It doesn't have to continue right now, though. This is what we said originally. You let them poke the bear a little bit, but then get back to it later on. But
see, I feel like
bobbing the hat. Yes,
I feel like I'm showing my hand to Jamie a little bit too much for the picks, but I think Adam Edge Copeland is just going to beat Christian in this no DQ match, and whoever wins that battle royal for the TNT shot is going to go into something with Copeland. It seems like they're finally moving away from Christian's TNT championship run.
I don't like it. I don't like that one bit. I don't support that.
I think it's better to get out early than late. I would like to see it keep going, but I don't think he beats Adam Copeland again. And especially because they're doing the battle royal for the title shot.
To me, the problem is though you have ways you can go with Christian. Now, granted, he's been here longer, right? He has history with Luchasaurus, history with Jack Perry, history with others, right? You don't have anything for Copeland other than Christian. That's literally it, right? It's the only story you've built for him thus far. He's had a little bit of interaction with Sting and Darby, right, to their defense, but it was against Christian again. There's no place for him to go unless you, like you said, to your point, you got to make it one way or another. That's the way to make it. I don't know, because I think if you leave the belt on Copeland, or if you leave the belt on Christian, Copeland's just going to keep coming back after him, right? Because you don't have anything else for him to do.
Yeah, and like it's like give them their big pay-per-view blow off and then move them in opposite directions because you have so much young talent they should both be working with. Not that I want to see Christian drop the title. I'd be down with him running with that forever, but I think it's about time that's going to happen, unfortunately.
I politely disagree, sir, but it's okay.
What if, let me throw this edge. Let me see if this sways you a bit. What if the winner of the Battle Royal, who ends up beating Copeland for the TNT title before too long, is Konosuke Takeshita?
Okay, then I'm cool with it.
All right, now we're good.
Immediate 180.
That's what that would be what I would put. That what I would do. I would have Takeshita win that Battle Royal and be the one to beat Copeland for the title and start building some steam back up again because they have cooled him off.
They have, but he didn't make an appearance on your TV tonight. And in fact,
he
the
did.
Don Callis family made an appearance on TV tonight.
Do we want to just jump right into that?
I mean, that's
absolutely,
a segue.
Absolutely. And ladies and gentlemen, if you're just joining us or you happen to see, we did put up a poll to see if Christian does retain his title at World's End. Jamie learned how to do a thing, so congratulations, ladies and gentlemen. You get to do a poll. All right, so let's go ahead and jump into the returning Don Callis family. That of course has Big Will Hobbs, rocking no shirt, black pants, and black gloves, which I absolutely love that look. Then you have Konosuke Takeshita, and then you have the new Ring of Honor TV champion, Kyle Fletcher.
Kyle Fletcher looking real good in that belt, I gotta say.
Yeah, and then to celebrate Boxing Week, which I thought was just Boxing Day, but whatevs. I mean, we're just stupid Americans, but I do know what Boxing Day is. He comes out and has gifts for all of his guys, and it's paintings with each one of them. It's he starts off Will Hobbs.
Fantastic.
It's Will Hobbs and him throwing up the West Side symbol. It's so good.
He has a do-rag on,
Phenomenal.
And then him and Takeshita, it was full on super triad moment. Like he had the triad tattoos, and he had the tattoo, and he had samurai sword. Awesome. And then with Kyle Fletcher was arguably my favorite. They both had boxing gloves on, and they were boxing kangaroos.
He wanted to bring a part of his native land to him. So a painting of the two of them beating up kangaroos.
Amazing.
Golf clap right there.
So of course, they're talking about all the stuff, and then Sammy.
Well, there's another picture. There's another painting.
Oh yeah, there's a painting that's still covered.
And but then he says at that moment, he goes, because I had to write this down here.
Okay.
That it's so great because everyone here and our family is complete. We are now complete and whole, just as they are right there in the ring.
Mm-hmm.
Sammy's music hits. That's where he comes in.
Yeah, Sammy Guevara. Just to make sure I have to say it just like that for all of us here.
Every damn time.
Thank you, MJF. I blame him. But so he comes out and he's wearing what honestly looked like an old school Inner Circle vest. Mm-hmm. Just a Sammy.
He's incorporated that into his own look for a while, though, to be fair.
Because he has no gimmick or look. But
comes up to a big pop, though. For what it's worth.
Was it? I
They were
didn't
cheering
think it
his
was
name.
that big.
It was
For him. It was.
It was a somewhat big pop because he was returning after being gone for a while. I don't think it was a legitimate, we love Sammy and we're glad he's on our TV. It was just a return coming out that you assumed in some way to cause trouble for this group of heels in the ring.
It was not the standard boo Sammy.
That is fair. He did get the legal definition of a pop for sure.
He did. Well, I like his music hit. They're like, oh yeah, oh yay. That's kind of the way it felt like, for me anyway. Just on the outside looking at it. And then
you're a little tilted, both of you, a little bit tilted, especially Jay.
Yeah, it's whatever, Like I hope he turns it around and like develops personality after having a kid. Help me. But he comes out and is like, long time no talk, Dawn. Like I haven't talked to you in a while, blah, blah, blah. And Dawn's like, oh man, I'm so glad you're here. I have a picture. I have a picture for you. Look. Oh, come over here and look at it. And it's all of them around Sammy holding his baby. And of course, Sammy's like, who said you could put my baby on the picture? Blah, blah, blah. Like, and then, yeah. They start fighting, and then
Dawn tells him he has to make a choice.
Oh yeah, between his family, that family, and the real family. Yeah.
Which, I'm sorry, none of you are Ty Mello. You don't have her booty. That's an easy choice.
Al Fletcher would politely disagree with what
this entire segment, aside from the pictures, which were legitimately great.
Yes.
This is one of the few times, and it happens occasionally, but it's few and far between, where I just stare at the TV and just think to myself, don't do this. Don't make pro wrestling TV bad. This was just bad pro wrestling TV.
Stop it.
None of this shit made sense, and it wasn't even done well for not making sense. This segment was just bad. Go ahead.
It's
JJ.
funny you say it doesn't make sense, because I will take your do not make sense and I will raise you, because out comes Jericho to defend Sammy. Okay, cool, right? Who they then get jumped by Big Bill and Ricky Starks. Okay. Who
hold
are
on,
then
hold
saved.
on.
Oh, go ahead.
Hold on. It was after they almost did the Mega Powers handshake. I don't know if you saw. Both of them were kind of getting in there for the Mega Power handshake, and they bro hugged it out.
And then they bro hugged it out, yes. And then they get jumped by Big Bill and Ricky Starks. And then there's a blackout. And who is it, Jamie?
Sting and Darby Allin.
It's Sting! So Sting and Darby... Not only does it not make sense, we're just going to start just throwing everybody. Yeah, just fuck it. Just put them all together. Who cares, right? Who cares?
No. That was the worst part about this entire segment is they ended the segment and you didn't know what any of these people were going to be doing on the pay-per-view. Now they came back later and announced the match. But if you're going to devote 10 to 15 minutes of your TV program to this whole thing, end the segment by like a challenge or something and tell us what's going on with these folks. I understand why this segment happened. Like, Kenny is legitimately having medical issues and is out, and you can't do Kenny and Chris Jericho against Big Bill and Ricky Starks. Okay, you got to scramble last minute. That's fine.
Latex Dogs versus the Champs. Cool. Got it.
This was so mailed in. And at first, I at least thought, like, okay, maybe they're going to do Jericho and Sammy against Big Bill and Ricky Starks, and they had to acknowledge the Callis thing to put them back together. Still not great. But then you throw Sting and Darby out there for no real reason. The worst part about this segment is you made the Don Callis family, who you have hardcore cooled off over the last, 2 months, look even more useless. Mm-hmm. It's 4-on-1 if you include Don Callis, and you're running away from Chris Jericho with his little baby bat swings. Like, you've got Powerhouse Hobbs in there. Powerhouse Hobbs should be able to hit with a bat 40 times before he even feels it. They they beat him down a little bit, and then they kind of run away, and then you get Starks and Big Bill, which like fine. Why at that point didn't the Callis family come back out now that it's 6-on-2? Like there were so many things that just didn't make sense. The other thing that just really annoyed me because it was so low effort was Sammy's whole, well, why did you put my baby in that picture? It wasn't a picture of your baby doing some weird shit a baby shouldn't be doing. It was all these guys that claim to be your friends huddling around you while you hold your child that you've been telling the world is coming for the last year or so since Tay got pregnant. Like it was a big part of TV.
It looked like the VHS cover of 3 Men and a Baby.
Yeah, like why would that annoy him that there was just a painting of him holding his child with his friends standing around him? And Sammy didn't do you any favors trying to sell it. Like it was just none of it was good.
No.
And
well said.
Why did this take up like 15 minutes of TV? And again, like I said, at the end, you didn't even announce the 4-on-4 match, which I assumed was coming, but build that into the segment. Give us a reason why you're all here doing this, please.
I blame Jericho.
Yeah. Like everything Jericho touches just doesn't work anymore. It's unfortunate.
Whole thing.
And that's the other thing too. I'm wondering if this is also why I think Takeshita is going to win that battle royal before the show, because why isn't he in the 4-on-4 otherwise? Unless he's hurt, maybe, but you just had Takeshita and Jericho in Japan at DDT like a month or two ago. They've got some stuff going on. Like if Takeshita wins that battle royal and gets a TNT title shot, okay, some good came of this. Otherwise, this was probably the worst AEW TV of 2023 that I can remember. Just that segment. The rest of the show is pretty solid.
Yeah, that's putting that out there too.
That segment was that segment to me was what the Jeff Jarrett and Jeff Hardy Texas Chainsaw Death match was to JJ.
I understand completely that reference.
Okay. There you go.
Yeah. But in fairness, for Don Callis, when he talked, it was great. When he talked,
sure, the paintings were fantastic.
I would like to see them return the Callis family and Don Callis to the heat and level they had him at like 3 months ago and did nothing with them.
Yeah. Well, 2024 will be
the year of Don Callis.
The year of Don Callis. I mean, who knows? Maybe Don's the devil, like I said, but I've thrown out like 25 devils at this point. So
you're not the only one. Did you see? Let's talk about Roddy's little vignette. It was right after this.
So yeah, Roddy is perfect. Roddy, was like, Roddy. They figured it out. It wasn't hanger.
They pull up and they show a board and it looks straight ripped off of Charlie Day's board from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
That was the first thing I thought of. Pepe Sylvia.
I know you did too. Yeah.
God, it was
it's all big conspiracy here.
That's probably my favorite joke in that entire show. Is that Charlie's illiterate, and when he says Pepe Sylvia, it's because he can't read Pennsylvania.
Where they live. Where he's always lived.
Yes. Pepe Sylvia. All right, so yeah, they did that whole thing, and it, of course, always points to Max is the devil. Max is the devil. Max is the devil.
And Roddy's, whether it's tonight or he's going to prove it somehow.
Yes.
Put a pin there.
Yeah, we'll put a pin in that real quick, because then we got the last of the promos. It was Mariah May. Beautiful, elegant Mariah May. She has announced that her very first match will be next week in 2024, the year of glamour. I still don't know against who.
Tony Storm.
It won't be against Tony. It's not going to be against Tony.
Tony Storm.
Nope. No way.
I think you got to build to that a little bit more.
I think you're right. You got to build up to it.
It's coming. Revolution likely, but it's coming.
Maybe Riho.
Could be. Rio does come out. Here's what I want to say here. And I want to ask you, this is a question I had for both you guys here. Now we'll get into it more. There was a women's match on the show that we're going to talk to you about in a little bit. But how about an actual effort for multiple women's storylines in one 2-hour show. We had this whole thing, which led in, it's all built around the title picture. Riho came out. Toni Storm came out, right? They fuck us a little bit, but Mariah May's kind of in the mix with all of this. We don't know who her opponent is. We all see the Mickie James coming, right? That's what all three of us are like, it's right there, right? But so you have this. Later on in the show, you had a real quick little vignette with Saraya and Ruby Soho. Hey, Ruby. Right? A different storyline there. They have Haley Cameron with a knife out of nowhere, which I don't know what the fuck that means, but it was entertaining for half a second. And hey, it's something else. Yeah. Plus, you had stuff built around the women's bit. Actual multiple storylines going on with the women. How about that?
Hey, we're getting 2 women's matches on the pay-per-view. On the pay-per-view proper, not even 0 hour.
Yes.
2 on the show. Oh,
we're close. We're getting close.
All right, so
Don Callis family fell down, but at least we got a little bit more going on in the women's division. So it's a give and take.
So do you want to run right into the women's match?
Let's start with that one, yeah. Because the other three all kind of go together, yeah.
Yeah. All right. So women's match happened. It's Sky Blue, a little bit more dressed than she was for Collision. If you watch Collision, you know exactly what I mean. But it was her against Chris Statlander, and Stat was the former TNT Women's Champion and TBS, whatever. The True TV Champion, and she lost due to outside interference for Sky Blue by one Julia Hart. They start beating her up after the bell, and then Sky Blue does this weird modified Dragon Sleeper type thing. I think if she just did a regular Dragon Sleeper, that'd be cool, because I love a good Dragon Sleeper.
I didn't think it looked that bad. I thought it looked pretty good.
It looked okay. I mean, it's Sky Blue, though. I guess I'm just being...
You just have you have proclivity against Sky Blue.
Because she can't wrestle.
I thought this was a perfectly fine match. I didn't think it was a bad match at all. I enjoyed it. I thought it was good. Statlander looked good. I liked having Stokely Hathaway on commentary because it adds another little dimension into the women's division. You know, he's in there and he's whatever. I think Sky has gotten much better since she's kind of turned away from the blue nothingness gimmick that Austin so much hated, right? And how about that finisher? You had a really nice looking avalanche code blue.
Yeah, that did look good.
You had an almost disastrous looking avalanche code blue.
It was close. I was like, she's not going to try that. Is that? Oh shit. Okay, it turned out pretty good.
And that was the problem with this match. Was Chris Statlander was out there doing the Lord's work, having one half of a good match, and Sky Blue was just barely keeping up. Which, to her credit, that's better than not keeping up. So I'll give credit where it's due there. Yeah. Sky Blue lacks a second gear, and I brought this up before, and she spends half the match just kind of standing with her arms at her side. Like, in between stuff, she just kind of like walks over to the next place. But there were a lot of spots here where Statlander was just working at a different pace and intensity that Sky just couldn't match. And this is probably something to me, as someone that has been doing this for a decade and a half and has trained people how to do this, one of which is wrestling on World's End. That's something that maybe it's something that I see that your average fan isn't gonna see, and it's fine.
Probably.
But to me, it just looked like Statlander, like I said, it was a different intensity and speed that Sky just couldn't keep up with, and that to me is jarring. And especially that finish. Sky just kind of like laid in position, and Statlander threw herself into that bump, and the bump looked good. Sky was barely hanging on, which is why her head almost hit the mat in the flipping part of it. Mm-hmm. It was a cool finish, but it would have looked better with like more effort on Sky to look like she was doing the move instead of Statlander just jumping and safely landing on her back, which is the right thing to do there. Don't get hurt on a Dynamite match. But the match was okay. I think Statlander I wish she had a little bit more charisma because her in-ring work is on par with anyone else you would want to throw out there.
No doubt.
To me, the biggest letdown was the post-match. They made Abaddon, and when I said I've trained someone that's wrestling at World's End, that would be Abaddon. They made Abaddon, as well as Statlander and Willow, all look like total dipshits. Like, post-match beatdown, Willow comes out to make the save. You've got the heels retreating up the ramp. Cue Abaddon's music. Spooky Abaddon coming out to scare him back the other way. Right there, if your heels immediately take off to the side, you're good. If your baby faces start closing in on them and then they take off, you're good. If your heels just stand in the middle of the ramp while your baby faces stand at opposite ends just staring at them and doing nothing, now they all look really dumb. Because, like, why? They're right in front of you. All you got to do is go like you're going towards them, and then they can escape. But there was an awkward, like, 15 to 20 seconds of everyone just standing in place that felt like an eternity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good point.
But more development of the women's division. You've got multiple women involved here.
And that's where I'm going with this. I'm being Mr. Positivity in all this because I feel like at least they're giving him that shot. Abaddon has a pay-per-view match, right? You saw Willow on TV. You got a match with Statlander. No, Sky Blue is not the wrestler that we want her to be. I still feel, though, that she's not as bad as she was 6 months ago.
That's fair. That's fair.
And if you make her a second rung to Julia, I feel it's even better because then she can work on stuff outside the ring, hopefully, right? While, you have, because Julia is not a type of wrestler who's going to be out there fighting champion every single week, right? That's not her shtick, which is fine with me, right? Give people like Abaddon, like Willow, like Chris, the TV time. And they did. They got some TV time for them. So, hey. More power.
Yeah, they're definitely throwing different faces out there. And that's progress.
Yeah. I love me some Willow. I can't wait for Willow to become a champion at some point.
She's going to get that TBS title probably at Revolution.
I'm torn because on the one hand, I keep saying, like, why have you not pulled the trigger on Willow yet? But on the other hand, every time I see Willow, I'm just anticipating it more for when they finally give Willow that run. So maybe they are doing it the right way and build it up. Willow is ready to be a star, though. Like, Willow could be the opposite of your Toni Storm, because Toni Storm is just doing some of the best work in the world right now. Willow could be that opposite baby face. And I almost don't want to see Willow going after the TBS title because I would like to see Willow eventually just get the big title. I think she could be that level of top baby face in your women's division.
I like it. I like it a lot. All right. So let's go on to the next match that isn't a part of the Coastal Carolina Continental Breakfast Classic.
There's only 4 matches in the show tonight.
Yes. That was for the ROH Tag Team Championships. It was the Kingdom. I'm sorry. It was the
2
Devil's
unknown masked men
going up against MJF and Samoa Joe. MJF comes out. Samoa Joe's music hits. No Samoa Joe. What's going on? They cut back to the back, and he is holding his knee, clutching his knee, acting like he is super hurt. Like, he is just hurt really bad. So it instantly becomes a handicap match of MJF versus the 2 unknown Kingdom member devil mask men, who eerily are the same size as those gentlemen. They go out there, and due to the short numbers, your new Ring of Honor
you have a third masked man who's definitely not Wardlow come out from under the ring with a pipe and hit MJF, and
Yeah. So was it Wario? So it'd be
Wario.
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 And they use the heat seeker for the finisher to get the victory.
So let me talk about that for just a hot second.
Please do. I would love nothing more than for you to talk about that particular move. Go.
So this match, honestly, I was all for. I was very excited that they're dropping the belts right there. Makes tons of sense.
We all knew it.
And then again, I love a good finisher stealer. But I would much rather see an armbar on his bad shoulder and everything, because that makes way more sense instead of a goddamn heat seeker, the worst finisher in all of wrestling. It's not a finisher. It just sucks.
Oh, hard disagree on that. I like the heat seeker as a finish. Pile drivers are always over.
Yep.
It's going to pop your crowd because it looks kind of cool. And I've seen much dumber things used as a finish. This, though, I didn't mind the heat seeker as a finish. I didn't care for the blast him with the pipe, then give him a heat seeker, then also put your feet on the ropes. Because apparently MJF cannot be kept down even when it's 4-on-1.
He's invincible!
They gave him the John Cena treatment.
Yeah. And like, you didn't... I think the lead pipe into the heat seeker would have been fine. The trying to put the feet on the ropes was just, it was unnecessary.
Yeah.
So after that, like the four mass assailants, we're beating up poor MJF, and then here comes a hobbling out Samoa Joe with a chair, just trying to get out there. The guys get out of the ring, and then the devil shows up on the screen and just looks there, and then afterwards has words up there, says, "Pleasure doing business with you." And then here is Samoa Joe instantly getting better, head tilt, and then brutal chair shot in the back of MJF, beats the hell out of him. He was working with the devil so he can get that championship gold on Saturday, which is definitely going to happen.
When he takes him in I went back and just kind of rewatched it to catch what he said. When he takes him into the corner before he does the muscle buster on him, he says, he says something to the fact of, "This was me all along," or this was all me, is what he said, you know?
I think like the exact words were along the lines of, "Remember, I did this to you."
Thank you for that. Yeah, I didn't write it down, but I should have. Yeah. So he didn't say I'm the devil, but he said that everything happened tonight, basically. This is it. So, gentlemen, is Joe now the devil for sure? Or is this just a whole, because him and Cole have history. Cole's the one who urged him to team up with Joe, right? They've been working together. Is it still Cole, or is Joe possibly the devil?
Cole. It's always been Cole.
Okay, all right.
I'm going back to what I said last week, and I think I'm now locking this in. It's everybody. It's everybody that hates MJF is in on it.
And who the devil is doesn't matter.
I think ultimately the big reveal is going to be Adam Cole, but I think it's everyone that MJF has wronged is involved, and that's going to be the turnaround on this going forward after the reveal is MJF having to deal with everyone he's pissed off by being a jackass, which is an interesting type of story. This segment, though, I think they dropped the ball by putting this at the end of the show.
I agree.
You already kind of knew going in it was unlikely to be an actual match. You should have closed out the show with Kingston and Danielson for reasons we'll go into when we get to that match here in a minute.
I thought we're going to do that, honestly.
They were doing the introductions at like 1 minute to the hour. So you knew something silly was going to happen.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But even then, the way they did it, I thought was pretty underwhelming for as much time as you put into this story. One, kind of to what you were talking about, JJ, they left it a little ambiguous on whether or not Joe was actually the devil, because he got that line in remember I did this to you. But if he is the devil, okay, now this is all just kind of like tripped at the finish line going into this title match. I don't think he's the actual devil. Like I said, I think Adam Cole's still getting the big reveal at the pay-per-view. It's a lot more involved on that. But this just seemed so rushed to can it into the end of the show when you could have given it a little bit more time to breathe earlier in the show. I also think, one, the potential ally with the weapon then turning and hitting the other person that they're supposed to be friends with has been done 40 times in the last quarter for AEW.
Yep.
We saw Nick Wayne's mom do it. We saw Nick Wayne do it. Like
it's the oldest trope in wrestling.
And it's just happened so many times recently. The second Joe came hobbling down with the chair, you kind of already knew he's going to hit MJF with that chair, which makes sense. He just had to get him to the pay-per-view. Why not soften him up a little bit beforehand? What they should have done was put this earlier in the show, had MJF and Samoa Joe out there ready to start the match. The bell rings. Now your Tron pops up and says, "Pleasure doing business with you." Joe chokes out MJF right there, lets the devil guy pins him and walks out. Now it's still like Joe is working with the devil, but like you don't have that weird ambiguity as like, oh, is he the devil or not? I think that flows a little bit better. This just seemed a little bit jumbled. It was just kind of a little underwhelming way to close out your Dynamite going into the pay-per-view.
I'm with you. I feel like switching the matches would have been better. So the message was directed at Joe naturally, right?
Yeah.
That's the whole point. Pleasure doing business with you, right? This is his business to soften up MJF for the match in 3 days, right? You know, I'll hand deliver you these titles if you beat the shit out of this guy so that I be able to walk through him, no problem, to get the big title. Fine, cool. So I had no problem with any of that except for a little bit of like I was saying, that little bit of ambiguity they put out there. I like the idea of everybody being involved. I would love it is when they unmask after Joe beats him and does this. Here's my prediction. All right, Jamie, I don't have a hat, but I do have a sticker I'll put up here for a quick second. Whoop, whoop. Joe's going to get the title. Okay. Right. You know, there's going to be shenanigans afoot naturally with the Devils somehow. After the match, it's going to be Devil and MJF face to face. This is going to end your pay-per-view. Right. And it's going to be unmasked. Adam Cole probably. Right. And then you have, maybe he'll save his for the last, but you'll have the Devil's Men, right? They can start unmasking themselves. What if you have a ridiculous number of Devil's Men is what I'm saying here, Austin, to kind of piggyback what you said. I don't think they're going to go this route here, but I think it'd be awesome if they did. They have like 20 people out there. Everybody's wrong by him. It's just literally, it's the AEW locker room. Just everybody starts pulling their masks off. You got Jay Lethal. You got, everybody just boom. People you don't even expect to be out there. Here's Trent Beretta, right? Here's, and what a bigger FU than is Adam Cole. And he's like, we did this because no one likes you, right? And then you do the whole contract not signed arc. That's how you end it.
Yeah, and then MJF gets to come back with a redemption arc. Like, you send him away for a while at his absolute lowest. The entire company just told you they hate you. You lost your title. They want to see you sign elsewhere and just go away. And then he's got to come back and build his way to the top. Like, that's good storytelling right there. Really quick aside, not related to this storyline or match, but we did gloss over it a little bit. There was a very short backstage segment setting up a trios match for Rampage on Friday night.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't know if y'all have caught this recently, but one of my absolute favorite bits they've been doing is someone backstage cutting a promo and Orange Cassidy showing up out of nowhere being like, I see what you're getting at. Fine, I'll wrestle you Friday, and then just walking away.
That was funny.
I had to make mention of that. It was great.
And we learned that actually Andretti has no gag reflex in that promo.
Oh, he does the water bottle trick. Yeah.
Yeah, like, okay, that's I cool, I guess, but no one's impressed by you drinking water, man.
I just want to throw actually Andrea there because I know how much you love him. All right, Jamie. I think we're all in agreement, though. Is it going to be revealed Saturday? We all in agreement?
Yeah.
Yes.
Has to be.
Has to be.
Not We Riot.
Especially since there is no word on if MJF has or has not officially signed anything, and if he hasn't, you gotta like either button it up and close it because it's done forever, or
either way, he is legitimately banged up from what I've read too, like legitimately banged up. So he needs some time off regardless.
Yeah. All right, so then you get into your co-matches of the night. Like legit pick your flavor.
Best way to say that.
I'm partial, 100% partial to one of these, but I will have to say I'm going to end with the one I'm partial to. So you have a triple threat on the gold side for the winner.
That wasn't that much of a surprise, Jamie. That reveal was really bad. Sorry, man.
Well, dude, like God love Eddie Kingston. But anyway, so you had Moxley, Swerve Strickland, and Jay White. And I know one person has pontificated multiple times that Jay White was going to win, so he could eat the pin on World's End. But you be wrong, sir. Dead wrong.
I am wrong. After watching Collision this past week, it all became a lot more obvious. Mox winning works, I guess. It's weird because like I'm never sad about seeing Mox wrestle, and Mox should win way more often than he loses. I think for what ends up happening with the other match as well, this made the most sense. I still would have liked to see Jay White get the win. I was correct in saying Swerve was not winning because Swerve has no business winning this because he's getting that AEW title Revolution. But
you were right. I'll give you your laurels on that. You were 100% right there. I was in that. Hey, mea culpa.
And I'll offer further thoughts when we talk about the other half and the other league afterwards. Not sad about Mox winning. I would like to see Jay White. I think he still needs those moments where you build a little bit more legitimacy with him, just because he's kind of come up short here and there.
Yeah.
But I mean, Mox has been the ace for AEW for the last 18 months or so. Like, no problem with him winning this.
It's weird we didn't talk about Mox in our Wrestler of the Year because he deserves to be up there by far.
Yeah.
He's carried this company up multiple times when he's needed to. Constant worker. He goes out there. He bleeds, literally. AEW.
No blood again tonight. Almost. So his ear was red. I thought he was going to be.
And he can wrestle. We said this before. He can wrestle. He can go out there and wrestle this match. He can go out there and do just a bloody death match. And then turns around, wrestles Ray Phoenix in one of my favorite matches I saw on TV this year, right? You know? Versatility. I love a good old, I would call them old fashioned, but kind of that, a good old fashioned triple threat, right? It was just no extra business because there's nobody else that's around ringside, but it's triple threat rules. Anything goes. Jay White's fantastic. Swerve is who he is. We all know Mox. They worked great together. The pacing was good. You had the 2 on, 1 out for good portions of it. You had 3-man chaos for good portions of it. Mm-hmm. Close falls, finisher here. I love this old school kind of. This remind me of like that pre-Attitude Era when we had those triple threats. You'd see stuff like, I'm trying to think. It was like Bret Hart. I know was back. It was in one back in that timeline.
So pre-Attitude Era, they didn't do them very often. They did Bret, HBK, and Sid for a while in the 90s.
Before the Attitude Era,
Yeah, but triple threats really weren't common before the Attitude Era. You'd get them occasionally.
Mm-hmm. When you got them, they were unbelievable.
Really, really quick while we're talking about triple threats and the Attitude Era, even though you're talking about pre-Attitude Era.
Right.
I can't remember the exact show, but somewhere around 99, 2000, there's a pay-per-view with a triple threat match between Dean Malenko, Perry Saturn, and Eddie Guerrero. That is one of the best triple threat matches you'll ever see. They don't leave the ring. And it's always stood out to me decades later. They do a triple threat where no one powders out and you don't do the 2 in, 1 out. it's all three guys in trying to win. It's only like probably about a 10-minute match. If you Google around, you'll find it. We were gonna forego a stash of knowledge this week, but I just had a little hint of a stash right there. Go find that match when you get a chance. It's phenomenal.
Not the middle part of the stash. Just want to make sure everybody understands that.
Yeah, no, not the middle part of the stash.
So
that one wasn't expected, but I had to make mention while we're talking about triple threats because it's phenomenal.
I mean, I just love a good old kind of old fashioned triple threat, right? Where it's not
a good old fashioned. Put some money or something. Sorry.
No,
little South Park action. Anybody remember the Shake Wake episode?
I don't think I ever saw that one.
The cream freeze.
It's worth a watch. It's worth a watch.
I watched a lot of South Park early on, and I don't know around when I stopped watching it because it's been on for like 30 years, and like there's so much of it.
Like that is Simpsons. Simpsons still on. Do you guys know that? Simpsons is still going.
Not as far as I'm concerned. As far as I'm concerned, The Simpsons ended around the time they did the movie.
Yeah, good point.
Yeah, that movie was something to be desired. So nobody really felt, like I said, even though Moxley won, nobody really lost, in my opinion, in this.
Oh, absolutely.
Jay White looked fine. Swerve, he got plans. He did a promo immediately after where he accepted a challenge from Keith Lee. Yes, please. Nobody lost really, but yeah, Moxley wins.
Yeah, no, it was an excellent match. Just to paraphrase you guys, lots of good stuff here. But all three men look good. At the end of the day, no one got hurt. Everybody looks strong. All good. Then you get arguably what should have been the main event, like we all talked about. This should have 100% been the main event, and that is Eddie Kingston versus Bryan Danielson. And the sheer amount of chops. Chop City is where they went. They went to the Chop House. They in Chop City, and they were just ordering chops, chops, because like at the end of the thing, Bryan Danielson's chest was legit bleeding from the amount of chops that he was getting from Eddie, and every single one of Eddie's to also like I gotta give him big props. Everyone sounded great because like you've been in the wrestling business for a long time, Austin. Somebody hits you and it's just a thud. It doesn't get that loud. Like all of them were popping. Like it was popping and locking, dude. It was just insane.
Oh yeah, no, there's definitely a technique to it, and there's also just a very small margin of error for the chops sounding great. Because sometimes if they move their shoulder just half an inch and you don't get that perfect placement, you'll still get that thud like you were talking about, but not that like echoing slap that everyone associates with those chops. No, there was no weak chops in this match. They were all just fire, especially when Eddie had Danielson down in the corner and was throwing him down while he was sitting there. It was just lighting his chest up.
Oh,
you love to see it.
So good. This match fucked. Like that's all there is. Like I can give it a star ranking, whatever. It tripped every single one of my triggers that could have been possibly tripped. It was technical. It was brutal. It was back and forth, emotional, because any Eddie Kingston match is emotional, no matter what. I don't know how he brings out the emotion in me. He absolutely does. He is the king of the bums.
King of the bums, t-shirt coming.
Yes. And your winner, and heading on to the championship to face Jon Moxley, Eddie Kingston.
Which, okay, let's for a second talk about the tournament. We did finally get a draw this past Saturday.
I meant nothing.
Well, technically it meant that Danielson, it was his qualifier in. He just needed a winner draw to anyway. But we got a draw. Kingston starts with 2 losses, ends up going to the semifinals and now going to the finals, right?
Mm-hmm.
So for what it's worth, I thought the tournament has been a success, even though I think there's parts where they could make it a little more interesting. I enjoyed it. I thought it gave us great TV in a time when you usually don't get a lot of good wrestling on TV. End of the year, like we talked about, is not generally swan song of the wrestling season, if you would, right? It's the end of the year. People are taking time off to be with their families and stuff. So we're going to dial in December. Not this year. No, we got really good wrestling, and I'm thankful for that.
Yeah, the tournament was great. As I kind of put a little bit of a pin in it while we were talking about the triple threat, but after Collision, I saw what the finals matches were. Eddie beating Danielson and then fighting Mox and making it to the finals after starting 0-2 is a good story for the tournament, provided you continue to elevate and push Eddie Kingston coming out of the tournament.
Yes.
That's my one concern from this. Is we started and we talked about it like 2 or 3 weeks in, like, okay, this kind of seems to be going how we expected it to. Like, where's the fun booking and the drama with the tournament? Well, we got to it at the end. It almost feels a little bit, though, that they didn't kind of keep you along with this story at the beginning. Like, you saw Eddie put his titles up and then lose the first two. And they did some really good promos with Eddie about, like, hey, man, you've lost your first 2 matches. But I don't know if they really, like, zeroed in enough on this is a story we're telling. Eddie's got to run the table. I think the last few weeks he's been winning, and they haven't just, like, ignored it. But it almost seems like you got to Eddie in the finals out of nowhere. And I think you could have done a little bit better job of, like, really telling that story along the way. Again, not like they did a terrible job of it, but I think you could have gotten us a little bit more bought into that, and it would be even more over now. Now, that being said, the crowd was huge behind Eddie. They popped when he won. They're going to pop for him in New York in the finals. So you ended up in a good place. I just really hope, even if Eddie doesn't win, which I think he's probably going to win on Saturday, but even if he doesn't, if you don't continue to elevate Eddie Kingston out of this, it almost feels like this tournament was a bit of a waste. I don't think that's going to happen, but it is a potential downfall to this.
2 of the 3 titles he's winning aren't for this promotion. So, again,
you know, he loves he loves being over on you know, he loves being in Japan. People in Japan love him as well. It makes sense for him to get it because, I mean, Ring of Honor needs a leader. You know, they need that person. And Eddie's that guy. And especially if he comes out winning this thing. Like, Mox. So here's so this is a perfect example. Ring of Honor. Mox doesn't need Ring of Honor.
No.
Kingston needs Ring of Honor.
Yeah.
And Ring of Honor needs Kingston more than they need Mox.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
No, absolutely.
That's why I'm full in. He's winning this thing.
Yeah, I'm with
Kingston for
you
life.
There. I mean, Ring of Honor, they had Claudio as the face. It's recognizable. That's all it'd be if you had Mox win. Now, it's good for a bit, but it's not. We need to really, like, grow the promotion. You need heart. You need soul. Also added to the pay-per-view was a 20-man battle royal. Winner gets a shot at the TNT title. We have Andrade versus Miro. It's not a CJ Perry on a pole match, but, you know, kind of.
Which she is recovering from having a really bad
infection.
Yeah, she had a really bad infection in her finger from a splinter. It got really infected. They thought they got it all cleaned out, and like almost lost her finger.
Life-threatening, you know. But Andrade versus Miro, and Miro promo tonight was fantastic.
Always is.
Yeah, we talked about we got Swerve versus Keith Lee. 2 women's title matches. Julia Hart versus Abaddon for the TBS title. Riho versus Timeless Toni Storm for the women's title. You have the 8-person tag team jungle fuck match. Christian Cage versus... I'm not even going to dignify that with anything else. Christian Cage versus Adam Copeland. No DQ TNT title match. And MJF versus Samoa Joe for the world title.
You forgot Hook versus Wheeler Yuta for the FTW champion. And did you get Swerve and Keith Lee? Yeah, you did.
I got Swerve and Keith Lee, yes.
Did you get FTR and House of Black?
Oh, yeah.
I believe that was confirmed on Collision.
Okay, they didn't mention it all.
Confirmed, a challenge was laid down.
Okay, that's probably going to happen. FTR House of Black. I imagine that and the FTW Championship. If I had to put money on it, my thoughts are going to go to the pre-show. But we will see. We will see on Friday what else is added to the card because you know Tony Khan. But that beautiful new title is up for grabs. The one that Jamie is currently showing on his shoulder. It is up for grabs. One of us, or the Tyrant Megan, will get that title. I'll be so happy to have you hand that over to me at bowling next week, or to watch you put it in the mail to send down to Wichita for Austin. Either one will make my heart just bubble and sing.
Well, it ain't gonna happen, Jack. All I gotta say is this. I've won 4 consecutive. I repeat, 4 consecutive. And I've won 7 out of the last 8. Okay? I am the pay-per-view champion. There's none better than me. None. Not even Megan. Megan's never been on a run like this. I've dominated 2023. And I will dominate 2024 because I am the reigning, defending, undisputed pay-per-view champion.
You know, hard, like that's the promo. You know, hard it was for me not to hit the mute button. I mean, so hard. I was my cursor's still over it right now. I could have just.
I feel like that's the promo the heel always cuts before they drop the title.
Oh,
you know, hey, you can think that all you want.
Let's
you
go.
can think that all you want, bud, because I've cut this promo for the past 4 months, and what's came home with me?
Oh, he throws the bud at you too. That's almost worse, bud.
That's right. This baby right here.
We will find out next week. So stay tuned. If you guys, if your first time here, hit that like, hit that subscribe button down below there. You'll see when we go on again. We're here every Wednesday. We'll be back next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. First, I was going to say vlog, and that's not right. First podcast of 2024. We will talk about the pay-per-view. We will see who the champion is at that time. We'll also talk about the fallout from World's End. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you for joining us this year. We truly, truly appreciate it. Thankful that we were able to add Austin into the mix to our merry little band of misfits here this year. Thank you, Austin, for having
me on.
Finding a little time to pop in here. I know that your schedule sometimes doesn't allow it, but when you can be here, it's great. But we appreciate all of your support. You know, we see it there. Every week we seem to be getting more and more follows and views and hits. And trust me, you know, we enjoy doing this. We're not out here to make a buck. We'd like to make some money doing it one day, but you never know if that happens. That's a whole other story. We're not
2024.
Shirts coming soon. Put a pin in that. But no, thank you guys for watching. Thank you for listening. Like I said, we appreciate you guys every single week. And I say that, and I totally mean it every time. So we'll be back next week. Same bad time, same bad channel. Jamie, take us home, man.
All right. Before I get to my usual thing, thinking you, Kev, prayers for you and your family, man. All right. If you're out down Total Spotfest, I got 4 words for you.
Going back to 4 this week. Okay.
I'm keeping my belt.
We'll see about that.
Nice.
All right, guys. See you next week.
Peace.